You're listening to Barske Studio True Crime. The story you're about to hear is just one of many hidden in the shadows of Nordic history, based on true events. No emotions, no bias, just facts.
Today, we are traveling back to Stockholm, 1932. We're unpacking one of Northern Europe's really baffling, kind of sensational cold cases, the murder of Lilly Lindeström.
Yeah, and the source material throws up this classic paradox, doesn't it?
It really does. Savage violence on one hand.
And then this stunning, almost obsessive sense of order right after.
That tension, I think, is why the case still grabs people. The Swedish press had a name for it.
Yeah, vampire mortis.
Yeah.
The vampire murder. So our mission here is to dig into the facts, the theories around Lilly's death.
And figure out why this killer, the Atlas vampire, just vanished, especially when forensic science was, just starting out.
Exactly. It was rudimentary back then.
The paradox is the hook, right? A skull crushed multiple times, total frenzy. But then the killer seems to, stop, take a breath, tidy up.
Yeah, leaves the place neat. It's this clash between, I suppose, passion and procedure.
And that contrast just complicated everything for the police from day one.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The victim, Lilly Lindeström. She was 31 or 32 years old.
And she was a prostitute.
She was. But the sources are quite specific. A call girl.
Meaning she worked out of her apartment.
Right, in the Atlas area of Stockholm. Vasastan now. She wasn't soliciting on the streets,
Okay. And her last known movements.
That takes us to Walpurgis Night, April 30th, 1932.
And the last person confirmed to see her alive
was her neighbor, also her friend, Minnie Jansen. She was 35.
Minnie's account is pretty crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lilly visited her twice that evening, both times to borrow condoms.
Okay.
And that second visit, it's become quite famous in the case files.
Why is that?
Minnie said Lilly showed up completely naked under her coat.
Wow. Okay. So maybe mid-appointment? Or rushing?
Could be. It gives a tiny window into her activities right before she was killed.
So Minnie doesn't see her for a few days, gets worried, calls the police.
Exactly. Police forced entry into the apartment, Sankt Erik's Plan 11, on May 4th.
And they find her.
They find her, flying face down. On an ottoman, maybe her bed. Sources differ slightly.
Cause of death.
Blunt force trauma, no question. To the head, 3 hard blows, skull crushed multiple times, really violent.
She'd been dead for how long?
Some days, is the phrase used, consistent with Minnie's timeline.
Right. But here's the twist, the thing that defines this case.
The scene itself. Despite that horrific head injury,
the apartment was
pedantically cleaned. That's the term. Her clothes weren't torn or scattered.
No. What were they?
Neatly folded, placed on a chair right next to her body.
Folded.
And cushions, an overcast like a throw blanket, were neatly placed over her.
That's staggering. Is that like ritualistic behavior or just practical?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
I mean, if he crushed her skull, there must have been blood everywhere. So maybe the tidying wasn't a ritual. Maybe it was just clean up to hide things, buy time.
It's the core psychological puzzle. The sources lean both ways.
Yeah.
The folded clothes, that points towards maybe an organized person, right?
Yeah.
Someone with a fixation on order.
But that order was shattered by the violence first.
Exactly. It suggests this deeply compartmentalized mind. Violent outburst, then immediate restoration of tidiness. Control.
Okay, that need for control or tidiness leads us to the nickname, right?
It does. This is where it gets really weird.
The lack of blood.
Precisely. For such severe head trauma, the scene was strangely bloodless.
Which immediately made people think.
He drank it. The press jumped on it. Remember, this is the Depression era. They wanted a story.
So they called him the Atlas vampire.
And the key bit of evidence, or what seemed like evidence, was this saucepan or dipper, a sauce can.
Found at the scene.
Found at the scene with blood in it. So the initial conclusion was he used it to drink the blood, or at least collect it.
Hold on. Was that really proof of drinking? I mean, couldn't collecting the blood just be part of the cleanup?
That's a really important point. Later investigators definitely questioned that.
Right. Collecting fits the clean freak idea maybe more than drinking does.
It could. But there was other strange stuff, too. Saliva. Found on her neck, her body.
Saliva, okay.
And the most disturbing piece, really central to the motive theories, was a used condom.
Where was it found? Accounts differ slightly, right?
They do. Some say hanging from her anus. Others say placed between her legs or nearby. But its presence was key.
And the placement, especially the anal suggestion, made the police think
that they were engaged in anal sex when he attacked her.
Okay.
which immediately framed the motive as lust and/or sexual perversion. It set the investigation down a very specific path.
Right. So moving from the scene itself to the investigation, this must have been a nightmare for the Stockholm police in 32.
Absolutely. You have a victim whose clients are the obvious first suspects.
So they started interviewing them.
They did. 9 men in total, specific clients, which suggests maybe Lilly kept some kind of record or many knew who they were.
9 men.
All eventually released. No charges. Couldn't make anything stick.
What was the biggest hurdle? Why did the killer, maybe one of those 9, slip through?
Well, the sources show the apartment was full of potential evidence. Sperm in that condom. The saliva. Hair samples. Even the ladle itself, which was dented.
But in 1932.
No DNA testing. Nothing like that. Police work relied heavily, almost entirely, on getting a confession.
So all that biological evidence was basically useless for identifying someone?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It could maybe help rule someone out if they had a solid alibi, but that's about it.
Which brings us to the wider context.
The Great Depression.
Yes. It wasn't just background noise. It actively helped the killer, in a way.
How so?
Well, Sweden was hit hard. Production down, wages falling, unemployment over 12%.
Lots of economic hardship.
And lots of people moving, drifting from rural areas into Stockholm, looking for any work they could find, creating this population of poor transient men.
And Lilly lived in St. Eriksplan, which was already known for prostitution.
Exactly. So the police are looking for one man, maybe a client, in a city teeming with anonymous faces, many just passing through.
Hard to check alibis for people like that. Almost impossible. No stable address, no fixed job. The anonymity the economic crisis provided was, in its own way, almost as big an obstacle as the lack of DNA tech.
Police struggled because there were so many Lillys out there, as one source put it, meaning lots of similar situations, making it hard to pin down this specific case.
Yeah. Finding one specific man connected to this one specific woman, especially if he was a drifter, incredibly tough.
So with the physical evidence basically unusable for ID and suspects potentially vanishing into the transient population, detectives had to rely on profiling, based purely on the weirdness of the crime scene.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They built theories around the killer's likely persona.
Okay, what were the main profiles?
Well, theory 1 was the sexually perverse clean freak.
Right.
The tidiness, the folded clothes, suggested someone meticulous, maybe obsessive about cleanliness.
A clean freak whose violence was maybe an anomaly, an outburst?
Possibly, and then combined with the sexual elements.
Condom placement, the potential anal sex.
Right. Detectives even floated a theory about the ass punch, this old, medically dubious myth that maybe he struck her head while trying to enhance his own orgasm.
Wow, that paints a picture of someone with very specific, maybe violent sexual needs coupled with this rage.
Then there was theory 2, the killer cop.
Because the cleanup was so thorough.
Exactly. So forensically aware, for 1932 standards, it made some wonder if the killer knew police procedures, knew what little evidence they could collect and how to avoid leaving it. He didn't just clean, he cleaned strategically, perhaps.
And theory 3, the one that gave the case its name.
The literal vampire.
Did police actually consider that?
Not the supernatural angle, no.
Yeah.
But the press loved it. Fueled by the blood in the dipper and the fact the killer just disappeared. Like he had a supernatural ability to avoid custody.
So the blood collection, whether he drank it or just cleaned it up, kept that sensational idea alive.
It really did. The sheer audacity of it.
It's wild to think all that evidence, the hair, saliva, condom, the ladle, was actually kept.
It was preserved. Yeah. The case legally prescribed in 1957. No more investigation possible.
But then in 2012...
a retired investigator brought the preserved evidence back into the public eye, including that dented ladle. Modern science got a look.
And what did Modern Analysis show? I think a Swedish TV show covered it.
Yeah, Beckens brought in 2012. And it basically confirmed the tragic irony.
Which was?
With the semen in the condom, the saliva. Modern DNA testing almost certainly could have identified the killer.
Wow. Justice denied purely by the clock.
A monument to the limitations of the time, really.
There was also that interesting detail about the building itself, wasn't there? From someone who lived there later.
Ah, yes. Gloria Anderson, a blogger. She lived in the same building, St. Eriksplan 9, and pointed out something about the layout.
What was it?
A common corridor. It apparently ran through the shared laundry room.
Okay. So
it potentially offered a way to get to or from Lilly's apartment without being seen by Minnie Jansen, the friend on the ground floor.
a back route.
Possibly. A clandestine entry or exit. Suggests the killer might have known the building, maybe was a local, or just a very cautious regular visitor.
It adds another layer to who this person might have been.
It does. So if we step back and look at the bigger picture, the Atlas vampire case sticks around because it's such a stark example of how justice can fail when technology can't keep up with, well, criminality.
A meticulous, possibly sexually fixated killer.
Allowed to just disappear because the police simply couldn't use the evidence they physically had in their hands.
It's that contrast again, isn't it? The extreme violence, crushed skull versus the extreme neatness, folded clothes.
That very fastidiousness might be what protected him from the science of the day.
It really underscores how vital even basic forensic science is. Just collecting and cataloging samples properly can make all the difference, even if the tech isn't there yet.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for you listening? The sources suggest Lilly might have known her killer, maybe a regular client.
Which means the police likely interviewed the murderer among those 9 men.
And let him go. So the final thought is this: what allowed the Atlas vampire to walk away? Was it his internal profile, that meticulous control, the perversion maybe? Or was it the external chaos, the anonymity gifted by the Great Depression's societal disorder? Which one ultimately guaranteed his escape? Something to mull over.
Thank you for listening to Barske Studio True Crime. The story you've heard is just one of many hidden in the shadows of Nordic history. We release new episodes every week exploring fresh true stories, from haunting mysteries to chilling crimes. Subscribe and join us next week as we uncover another untold truth. This was Barske Studio True Crime, told by AI with no emotion and no filter.